Friday. Since first and third are one day behind, I decided to go ahead and make this short little video for you. Again, it's just going to go over task 1, which is a continuation, which is closed reading, and we read and we make our vocabulary cards. So I thought, let me sure where I'm here, making sure I'm doing this right. I thought we would go ahead. You should have already watched the video on Colonial Georgia, and you should have posted your response in the Jamboard about why you think James Oglethorpe banned alcohol, okay? And now it says I will model closed reading, and I'm going to model the first page that we're going to read today. And we're reading about immigrants, okay? And basically immigrants are people from other countries that come to live in a new country, okay? And that's how Georgia really grew its population. We had a lot of immigrants that would come in and settle, okay? So what we're gonna do is I'm going to read the first 2 paragraphs. We're under the trustee period. The new immigrants arrive, and I'm also gonna read the Jewish immigrants aloud to you, okay? Remember, when you're closed reading, you have your hand on page 41, where we have all of our vocabulary marked. We already have it marked. We know what note cards we should be doing. Those are the words you're looking for as we read. So as you read and you come up to a definition of one of those words, go ahead and underline it. That way when you go back and make your note cards, you don't have to look for the definition. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the trustee period. And remember, the trustee period is the time period between 1733 to 1752, because those are the men, the 21 men, including Oglethorpe, that ran the Georgia colony. That's why it's called the trustee period. New immigrants arrive. The trustees governed Georgia from 1733 to 1752. During the first year, 40 settlers died due to illness that Oglethorpe thought was caused by drinking rum. Rum is a type of alcohol, okay? But in reality, resulted from the lack of a healthy diet, poor sanitation, and a climate the settlers were not used to. Remember, these people came from England. Georgia's climate is hot and humid, a lot of insects and stuff. It's not like that at England, so they were having a hard time coping. Fortunately for the sick colonists, a second group of settlers arrived in July 1733. So our first word that we need to define is the Jewish immigrants. And again, your words are on page 41, and you should already have them marked. We did that in class together. So I'm gonna go ahead and read. Jewish immigrants. The group consisted of 42 Jewish immigrants. Jewish people believe in the Old Testament of the Bible, but unlike Protestant and Catholic Christians, do not believe in the New Testament. Yeah, that's a definition, but that's not what we want. Remember, when we talk about the immigrants that moved to Georgia, we want to know where they came from and what they did in the Georgia colony. Like, what was their specialty? How did they help the colony? Did they help the colony? That's what we're looking for a definition. So I'm not going to mark that. I'm going to keep reading. Although Georgia's charter did not prohibit Jewish settlers, that means we allowed them in, okay? Many of the trustees in England objected to their presence in the colony. Oglethorpe, however, welcomed them because the colony was struggling and needed more able-bodied men. That means, you know, it's hard to make a colony. We need strong men. We need men that are going to work and, you know, help build the colony up. Among these new arrivals was a doctor named Samuel Nunes, maybe just Samuel Nunes. Oglethorpe was especially excited about Nunes' arrival because the colony's first doctor had died. So this Samuel dude, he was a doctor. And we read in the first paragraph, 40 settlers died because of disease, the insects, the heat. So Oglethorpe was like, yes, let's go. Bring these Jewish immigrants in because they have a doctor and they can help the colony. especially the sick people. Oglethorpe, already read that. Thanks to Dr. Newton's, the colony ended up making it through yellow fever outbreak, which yellow fever is a really bad disease, okay? To thank the Jewish settlers, Oglethorpe granted them land. There were two leading Jewish families in Georgia, the Menes and the Sheftals. The Sheftals established a synagogue, which is a Jewish church, and brought a copy of the Torah from London. The Torah is the Jewish Bible. Like that stuff you learned probably in 7th grade social studies. The Torah is the religious text that is sacred to Judaism, which is their religion. Additionally, the Sheftals and the Menes founded many businesses and charitable organizations in Georgia. So let's go ahead and do our first note card, which is Jewish immigrants. So on one side, we are going to write Jewish immigrants. And remember, if you don't have note cards, you have your document. You have your task 1 document of all the words you've already done, or you have it on a piece of paper. It's fine if you don't have note cards. So I'm writing Jewish immigrants, okay? And on the other side, we're going to go ahead and define them. So we read that this group of people had a doctor. So I'm going to write this group of immigrants had a doctor. And remember, that's really important because 40 people have already died of yellow fever, and the doctor died too. So like Georgia didn't have a doctor. So Oglethorpe was like, please come on in, you know. What else did the Jewish people do when they got here? It says, the very last sentence, it says that those two prominent Jewish families founded many businesses, which means they started businesses. So I'm going to write just like another bullet point, started businesses, because you know if you start a business, people can come buy from you. So it's going to make the economy go around. So that's good for the Georgia economy, okay? And charitable organizations. So they also helped with charity. And remember, charity is one reason why Georgia was founded. So we already have our first note card done. Jewish immigrants, and we have who they were. They had the doctor in the group. They started businesses and they helped with charity. Okay, so that's their definition. So when you continue reading today, you're going to finish reading page 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay? And if you're reading in the, if you're reading your assignment, it says you're making cards for the Jewish immigrants. We already got that card. We're done with that one. You're going to make one for the Salzburgers, which is another group of immigrants. The Highland Scots, which are another group of immigrants. Rules of 1735. This is where James Oglethorpe said, we're not doing this, 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 and that. Okay? So tell me what the rules of 1735 were. I mean, they are literally written out on page 34. When you're reading, just go ahead and underline what we couldn't do, okay? And the malcontents, which happens to be the only immigrants that came in that started all kind of chaos in the community. Like colonial Georgia, they didn't like that we couldn't have slaves. They started arguing, complaining that we're not allowed to do this, we're not allowed to do that. So they kind of started a disruption, okay, I can say. So you're going to finish reading. You're going to finish those note cards. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 note cards. You're reading page 33 to page 36, doing your 5 note cards for the words listed in the assignment. And pay close attention. Pay very close attention, and I have this in the directions, to the very last paragraph on page 36. It literally, the first sentence is an answer to your task 3, question 4. That question in task 3 for the Charter of 1732 literally asks you if the trustee period was a success or failure. Well, there's the answer right there. Like, you can literally put it in your own words. And remember, you have to cite evidence to get points for that. So go back and tell me why it was a success or why it was a failure. Don't just put yes or no, okay? So it says when you're done making your note cards and reading, I would go ahead and finish task 3. Obviously, because you read the last paragraph and that answers question 4 from what we did earlier in the week. And there's no like grade for today's assignment. Like, you make your note cards great, you read great, you're going to be on a good footing for next week. If you don't, you're going to be behind. But remember, your task 1, what we just did, reading and making those note cards, they're going to be due at the end of next week. Sorry, my husband called while I was videoing. I apologize for that interruption. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, your note cards are going to be due at the end of the next week, and we've been doing them in chunks, so make sure you're keeping up with them. And if you have any questions about today's assignment, even though we're not live today, I am at my computer. I do have a faculty meeting to go to this morning. But I will address any concerns you have, any questions you have, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.